Hey there YouTube, Elite Legionario here, bringing you a 2v2 for Rome 2 Total War. I'll be joined by Doc Holliday, who is using Athens, which he tends to use most of the time. I'm not really sure why, I think he just really likes them. The underdog side of them perhaps. And I'll be using the Arverni, which are a very, very good faction. I enjoy using them. And we're facing two very heavy skirmish builds. I'm going to go to slow motion here because it's going to get going fast and I want to outline the armies. So Royal Scythia and Parthia. Right, my army, up front I have 3 units of Celtic slingers. I have, I believe it was 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it was 5 Oathsworn. Then it was 1 Spear Noble and 4 Celtic warriors. I didn't want to spam the Spear Nobles, which I could have done, but that would make this really too easy. But then again, I suppose spamming Oathsworn's not really any different. I have several Celtic youths, which are javelins, which I brought in case Parthia was opposite me, but it's opposite Doc. And then I have 2 heavy horse and 2 light horse. I didn't want to bring because I brought light cavalry units, and I was with Parthia. That's probably why I brought the Oathsworn. I try not to spam any of the powerful units, but there's not a hell of a lot of a selection amongst the Arverni, to be honest. Doc, he's got 6 units of he's got 4 units of Apaeus Lancers and 2 citizen cavalry. He's got 2 units of mercenary veteran hoplites there, and then he's got 5 units of pikemen and 4 units of mercenary Rhodian slingers. The Parthian player has, let's see, 3 units of Parthian horse archers. He's got an Indian war elephant rather, and then interestingly enough, they're the 3-foot archers, nothing wrong with those, but interestingly enough he's got 5 infantry units, 2 mercenary hoplites and 3 Parthian swordsmen. To be honest, I mean, they're not actually as bad as people make them out to be. They're still quite reasonable, but when you're playing Parthia, you shouldn't get that many infantry. Usually only 2 infantry, in my opinion. You'd be better off just getting a whole lot more cav, because that's what they're better at. And he's done pretty well over here, though. He's got 4 royal cataphracts. So that's him. And then the Scythian player's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units of Scythian royal horses, melee cav. I probably would have got more shot cav. I think shot cav is overall more useful, but then again, if he's facing the Arverni like me, I don't have any shot cav, so it's not too bad. Then he's got 2 steep horse archers over here, and then he's got more Scythian royal horse here, and some lancer cav, 2 armoured lancers there, and steep noble lancers. So he's got 3 shot cav and then about 11 noble cav. Only 2 royal horse and only 2 horse archers. So that was interesting. He'd better off getting more horse archers, because that would enable him to deal with these Oathsworn a lot easier. It's a big ask for him to take on those Oathsworn with that. So we deployed up here on the left because the terrain was much more favourable here and we wanted to deny our opponents these hills. In my opinion, the Parthian player uses these horse archers all wrong. He challenges Docs and myself slingers in a very bad fashion. If you're going to do this, use Cantabrian Circle, because they're just going to lose every time. Over here, all I tend to do is I use my light cav to run down some of his royal horse here. Light cav's got nearly mine are actually suffering a penalty here, but they usually have at least 60 defense bonus, so they're a very, very good cavalry unit, even though they're light cav. But all I'm doing is I'm trying to stall his units. Like, I'm going to just make him, parts of his army singled out, so that way I can just swamp it with my infantry, get him stuck. So I keep kind of chasing him with my cav here to make sure I get his cavalry rather. Here he's using flaming arrows for reasons I cannot fathom. He'd be better off just using a regular, because it would do more damage. Over here, I pulled off my Celtic warriors to go and assist Doc in dealing with the cataphracts, because his Apaeus Lancers will lose their fight. But he does actually do a very good job against them. But he's bringing his own mercenary veteran hoplites in, and in conjunction with my Celtic warriors, Doc should be able to destroy them. Over here, he's just going to send his infantry straight on and towards Doc's pike, so he's definitely going to lose that fight. And he's using Parthia kind of like an infantry faction, which is wrong. Over here, he charges his elephants in, but I intercept them with Oathsworn. And Oathsworn, as you know, are incredibly good. Even though he kind of caught me in the side there, I am very decisively and very quickly killing all of these elephants. So they're getting pretty creamed by my Oathsworn, and I was actually trying to use my javelins here, and I do start to use them. He did manage to catch some of them though. But as you can see, he does very little damage. He does rout one of those Celtic youths, or starts to rout it, but it'll recover. But he loses elephants as a result. So very poorly used. He should have used his elephants to assist him in this fight against Doc's cavalry and my infantry, which he wouldn't able his cataphracts to win, and then broken our flank. But as you can see, these Royal cataphracts are getting broken very quickly by combined infantry and cavalry tactics. And over here, I've managed to catch most of the Scythian army before it can even help. Basically, I'm just pushing it. I'm using my cavalry to push it and hold it. So I'm pushing it out of the way so it can't help us. It can't go help his ally. We single out Parthia and destroy it all by ourselves. Easy battle for us. And all I'm using is my cavalry to force him to stay in fights. If he doesn't support units that get stuck, he loses them. And I've got infantry all the way in behind Oathsworn, so he's going to get pretty creamed in that fight. So every time he tries and assists, I just pull Oathsworn in, and they easily destroy his guys. And he can't go assist the Parthian player because if he does, he'll lose too much of his own army to me. Without the skirmisher cav to enable him to skirmish me back and force me to play on his terms, I'm instead forcing him to play my way, which is basically to stop him assisting the Parthian player. And the Parthian player just plays straight into Doc's pikes, which you should never do. These are only standard pikemen, but these infantry are going to get absolutely creamed by them. As you can see, Doc just absolutely destroys them. And I bring in my Oathsworn just for good measure. Finish them off even sooner. Won't matter though, don't really need to do that. As you can see, the cataphracts got owned, as did those elephants up there. And now the Scythian army is completely immobile and stuck because it's getting snagged on my guys. Now, cavalry have been lost in my ability to, my attempts to try and do this, but that does not matter because now he's just not really able to disengage very easily, not without taking some serious losses. And he either has to disengage or face Oathsworn in a protracted battle, and that's not going to look pretty for his infantry. As you can see, my Oathsworn are quite happily rallying there. And they shall easily defeat these Scythian cavalry. So he tries to pull back. He's got, if he'd had horse archers, he could have used heavy shot, and I would have been forced to kind of run around after him, use my light cav to try and stop them, and then he could have used his much heavier cav without the fear of my cav supporting. The Parthian player, if he'd used his elephants to help break Doc's cavalry, which he should have been able to achieve, could have outflanked Doc, and then used his infantry at least to pin the pikes and outflank them with his cataphracts there, but that didn't work. Elephants are a unit that needs supporting. It is a unit that requires, just assume it's like a tank, basically. You wouldn't send a tank into a city, for instance, without some guys around it to, look for mines or to, clear buildings for RPG people, that kind of, I'm getting kind of off topic here, but the point is, they're a unit that requires supporting. On their own, they can be swamped and destroyed and overwhelmed. If they get a good positioning, like if they catch a unit while it's still moving, and particularly in the side, they can often rout the unit completely. But if that unit gets time to brace, now it's still going to take some nasty casualties simply because elephants have so much mass. But once they stop moving, get stuck, it's not actually that difficult to kill them. But when you combine that with cataphracts with their trample and then use stampede, the morale damage is quite shocking, and Parthia can quite often sweep aside a lot of people that way. The Scythian player, his army was full of melee cavalry, but it did him very little good. To be honest, it's done him very little good simply because he has not been able to implement it. It's been stuck every time he's tried to use it, because if he knows he gets stuck in a protracted melee with Oathsworn, that he's gonna lose that fight every time. And what he needs to do is try and circle it, but I was just using my cav to try and force him away and stop him from doing so. If he had used his cav to assist the Parthian player, they could have swept Doc aside and my Celtic warriors aside, and they could have ganged up on me. But this way it enabled me to fight. Now he's charging me here. I'm going to stop and brace. If he stands still, it gives him time to at least brace for a charge. And my Oathsworn take a grand total of like 5 or 6 casualties and all those units charging. And in a protracted melee, these guys will not compete with my Oathsworn. Oathsworn will cream them. So, you want to kind of force people to fight your way if you can do so. It's not always easy to do though. Some players are very good at making you fight their way. But as you can see, his units are starting to rout here. Doc's got the last one over here, which is completely encircled, and last two over here rather, and they're gone. So the Scythian player had very little chance of assisting his Parthian ally, simply because he just didn't. I keep forcing him back to the point where if he pulled units off, he knew he'd get destroyed by my guys. But if he didn't go assist him, then the Parthian player got destroyed. But the Parthian player could have breached through Doc's flank there if he'd used his elephants to support that, but he didn't. So it comes down to close victory, but really it was pretty decisive. We both still had at least 60% of our armies left, so pretty decisive victory really. So anyway, good game to those guys, good game to Doc. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you soon next time.